I'm not that old, Gen Zs, I'm not that old, but when I was in secondary school, sardine was like 70 naira. Spaghetti was like 40 naira. Like, what was happening? Naira was around 140. Now, naira is about 8,600. Like, where is naira going to? Like, it's just flying. I remember in 2018, I was thanking my sister for helping me secure a job of about 50,000. I was almost crying. But now a bag of rice is more than 50,000. Like, do you realize that if I want to buy a bag of rice now and I earn 50,000, I have to borrow money from my close friend? And that's just one thing. Like the whole thing is going crazy. Rent is skyrocketing, but your salary is still the same. In fact, companies that are even looking for ways to even dodge from increasing your salary. You still have to go to work daily. Your transportation is about 30-40% of your salary if you earn about 100 and something thousand, and that's really crazy, and it's something that we need to address. And today's episode is going to be focused on how to escape this whole hard life in Nigeria that Tinubu has put us in. Hello guys, my name is Victor Akan, and I would like to welcome you to yet again another episode of my Breath of Hope podcast. Today, as I earlier stated, we'll be talking about hard life. I mean, I remember when Tinubu was voting to be president, he said that what do we need all these things for? What is foreign currency? What is this exchange rate? He said that as long as we have corn and rice, that we are fine, right? But on a more serious note, the country is very hard, and we need to find ways to keep ourselves sane and become better. How can we position ourselves in a way whereby hunger does not kill us? And I want to be talking about some of the things that are practical enough. Well, there is no easy option. There's only an option that is not comfortable, but you must do it if you want to survive in this country. And number one is protecting your mental health. Now, the reason why I added this, typically I'll tell you, go and get a skill, go and start a business, do this, do that. But there is something more important than all of those things. Those things are important, but something is more important. It's the state of your mind. Do you realize that most people, the average life expectancy for a male in Nigeria is 52 and a female is 54? And part of that is the level of stress that people go through. Like, the country is very hard. The frustration of the economy is gradually reducing your lifespan. In as much as it is difficult, you have to put yourself in a position whereby you don't let these things get to you now, or you limit the way they get to you. Some practical tips for protecting your mental health. If you're a Christian, I would always advise people to do two things. First, pray. I've noticed that prayer is really therapeutic in the sense that it safeguards your mind. So there's a way you can be feeling overburdened and overwhelmed, but when you pray, there's a lightness you feel, right? Feels like God is helping you carry that burden that you feel. Another thing is that you feel a certain sense of peace and calmness in the storm. So you will still pass what you need to pass through, but the burden is made lighter for you. And there is a sense of security that you feel that God is with me, God is going to direct my steps and things like that. So there is that. Now, if you are not a Christian, however, you must also still find ways to protect your mental health. I don't know what, any practical tips that help, but you have to find a way. It could be hopeful thinking, it could be whatever, but you need to find something that basically works for you to keep your mind sane. Because when you let the cares and the worries of everything get to you, you're not even in a position whereby you can think well enough to make appropriate decisions, right? Or rather, you're able to make appropriate decisions, but you're killing yourself, medically speaking, in the sense that you're putting pressure on your heart. You're more likely to contract diseases like high BP and all of those things. Why? Because you're stressing yourself too much. And so your mental health, trying to protect yourself must be of good priority. And also learn to ask for help. See, it is okay to not have everything figured out. It's okay to ask for help. If you're in a position whereby you have people that can genuinely help you to just go through the day, it's okay to ask for help. I'm not saying become a burden, become a liability. I'm saying sometimes understand that it's okay to ask for help. It's also okay to not have everything figured out and move step by step along the way. Be patient with yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not your fault. The way the economy is now, it's just hard. And so it's not your fault. You're sincerely doing your best, and give yourself kudos for that. Okay? Next thing, reduce the way you go out in Lagos, especially when you can't afford to step out. Reduce the way you chase women if you like women too much. Because it doesn't make sense that you're earning 300,000, but you chase women like you are Dangote's personal bodyguard. It doesn't make any sense. Limit your outflows to only what is necessary. Now, I'm not saying don't have fun. You can have fun once in a while, but at the end of the day, you can only have fun to the level your finances allows you to. A lot of times, there's a whole case of things are hard, but a lot of times when we check our bank statement at the end of the month, that is, I know nobody checks their bank statement, but if you were to check, you realize that some things that you still spend money. So for instance, now you cannot afford to buy food out, but you buy food out like 4 times or 6 times in a month, and let's say you spend an average of about 5,000 each time. That's about 30,000 naira. 30,000 naira for someone that earns 300,000 naira is 10%. That 10%, if it was saved, let's say you were cooking instead, you save that 30,000 naira every month for the next 6 months. That's like 360,000 naira, right? So at the end of the day, you realize that, and it could be more. I'm just giving illustrations. At the end of the day, you would realize that a lot of things that you spend money on, the liberty that, or rather the liberty that you used to have in terms of, spending, whereby you spend unchecked. If you can't afford it, you need to check it. You need to check it, and you need to limit. Like it's a tough one, but it's a necessary one, right? You need to limit how you spend money. Now the next thing, boost your inflows. Your inflows minus your outflows must be greater than 0. What that means is that the money that you're making must be greater than the money that is leaving you. But practically, what that means is that if you're privileged enough to make 1 million naira and you spend 300,000 naira, you're getting a savings of 700,000 naira. What that at the end of the day looks like is that you're gaining financial stability. But how do you even get to a position whereby you're boosting your inflows? Number one, I would say if you work in a 9 to 5, whereby, so let's say you work in a 9 to 5 and let's say you're earning like 200k, they're likely to promote you every 2 years. And after 2 years, you now start earning 300,000, after 2 years, 400,000, after 2 years, 600,000. You realize that after 6 to 7 years, you're going to be earning 600,000. But dollar is also going up. So even though it feels like your money is increasing in naira, in dollar, you're still getting poorer, which means that your purchasing power keeps reducing. So what you want to do is that you want to find a way to leverage yourself by 2 ways. First of all, besides the job that you're doing, what else can you do? Like side hustles. Okay, now side hustles meaning that could be drop shipping, all of those, funky things that you can do just, by using your phone. How can your phone make you money? One way you can understand what would work for you, just ask Google, research, ask ChatGPT. But I just give an example, drop shipping. So with drop shipping, for example, all you have to do is, post something on your page. When people need it, you then go and order it, and basically you're just like the middleman. Okay, you don't need any capital. You don't need any. All you need is to just promote other products on your page for people to order through you, and you have your own gain. You could also try learning a skill. Now, learning a skill or learning some sort of skill that allows you, first of all, either combine with your job or that allows you to stop your job. Now, the reason why I say that allows you to stop your job is because, to be very honest, if for instance you're a banker and the money that they are paying you, your purchasing power keeps going down and you are going through the stress, because I know for first hand that if you work in a bank, you mostly don't close by 5 p.m. You mostly close by like 7, 8, maybe 6 if you're lucky. But I know that for a fact. So what that now essentially means is that even the small time you have for your other side hustle is not going to be enough. Why? Because it's taking all of your time and resources, especially if you live in Lagos and you wake up very early in the morning. So you want to have a skill, and the end goal of that skill is so that you can resign from the job and get multiple jobs using that skill. So for instance now, practical example, let's say that you are earning like 300k and you work commute time plus work time is about 10 to 12 hours. Instead of doing that, what you can then do is that you can get a skill and get like overtime. Of course, I know it's not immediate, these things are overtime, and get like gigs or side hustles or remote gigs and all of those things, and get multiple of them. If they are remote, get multiple of them. If each of them is paying you about 200 or 300 or things like that, you have 3 remote gigs, which can be stressful, but it is what it is. You notice that you're more likely to earn more. And as you build networks, let's say for instance you decide to learn video editing, you would realize that the more you're able to build your network, the higher the likelihood for you to have more jobs, the higher the likelihood for you to earn. After a while, you can even have some guys that work. So for instance now, some person A meets me, say I need this job done, but I have a lot of projects, so I just meet somebody that I know is good enough. We split the money. By being more independent, my point is that being more independent with the right kind of skills, you're more likely to earn more than being stuck in an office job that takes all of your time, especially if that job has no real skill or value that has a long-term future that goes beyond the failing economy. Okay, so there's a context to that. You must also ask yourself, what skill in particular can I learn that gives me a leverage point in future, besides trying to learn a skill for the now that helps you? What skill can I learn? I mentioned video editing earlier. The reason why I mentioned video editing is because more and more people keep on creating content, because you have Instagram monetizing their content creators now. You have YouTube, who have always been doing that. You have X that started about last year. A whole lot, TikTok, a whole lot of content creators are going to keep coming. Although you have these content creators editing their own videos, but you would still have more professionals. So let's say on YouTube that want more professional edits, right? And so the demand will increase. Why? Because you have more YouTubers, for instance. You would have more filmmakers. You would have, and because of that, there will be a bigger need in terms of video editors. I mean, that's just an example, But you must also think, like I said earlier, think as per what skills are not just in demand now, but will be in demand in future. And the reason why I'm emphasizing on demand is because the only thing in life that is expensive are things that are scarce, because scarcity creates demand. Demand creates an increase in price, which is why a data engineer can be doing an interview. You can ask for 1 million, 1.5, 2 million, and they won't call him a thief. But if a customer service representative is asking for 1 million, 1.5, they call him a thief. Okay? It's because of your leveraging power. Pick a skill that you're sure would be in high demand, not just now, but you're sure will be high demand in the next 5 to 10 years. One skill that I know helps is AI engineering. Although I don't think we are there as a country yet in terms of Nigeria, but AI engineering helps a lot. If you are doing a job, and so for instance now, you're doing a job and you're trying to learn video editing. Let's say you're a customer service representative trying to learn video editing. That might not necessarily work. It would work, but what I mean is the ease of transition is not as easy. But you can be a customer service representative that transitions to, say, a virtual assistant. Now, the money they're going to pay you will be small in terms of you can earn like $500, $700. Now, when I say small, I mean small in comparison to what they'll pay somebody over there. Because you're going to be a virtual assistant, it's most likely going to be for somebody abroad. So the money that they're going to pay you is going to be small to them. But $500 in Naira, geez, it's about 800,000. Okay, because $1,000 is about 1,600, that's 1.6 million. So $500 will be like 800,000 Naira. It's funny, right? But it's about 800,000 naira. So you're earning 800k by just being a virtual assistant, a month. So what skills can you also transition into that is closely related to what you do right now, that can give you a better paying offer opportunity either in the country or outside the country? I used to have this friend that learned project management, but he didn't always start that way. He learned online, started applying, started writing certification exams, and then he started going to some websites to go and apply for foreign remote jobs. I felt like because he didn't have any experience, he wasn't going to get a job, but he got a job. So you could also try all those things, right? Transition into a skill that you know that it is easy for you to get opportunities to getting remote jobs abroad, right? And one website that helps in getting remote jobs abroad is angel.co. I think right now it's now called Well Found List or something like that, okay? But the essence of the summary of what I'm trying to tell you in terms of your inflow is, don't be stuck in the traditional sense of doing things. You'll be earning 150k in a job that you know has a slow growth rate. And as you're looking for a way out, you be patient with yourself, but don't be stuck there and you're not looking for a way out. You're not trying to look for a way out in a strategic manner that makes sense, that is smart enough. Look for things that could get you opportunities abroad where you can work from Nigeria and your earning power is higher, or just learn a skill that you can even use in Nigeria and you can use it to leverage your way to do multiple jobs, maybe do remote and things like that. Emphasis on remote now, okay? So these are some of the things I think would prove to be helpful. And there's one final thing. Japa is expensive. If you want to go to the UK right now, you need like 32 million. If you want to thief, I don't know where you get 32 million naira from. Maybe you have it, but I don't have it. But the point is that regardless of wherever you want to go, if you want to go to cheap countries, you need like at least 10 million. So maybe Malta, right? You still need a lot of money. So Japa is not going to work. One thing that will work, if you cannot leave the country, if you cannot run away for your life, stay back and fight, right? So what that means is essentially fight for your country, because this country is all that we have, all right? Now, I'm not the biggest patriot, I'm not the best patriot, but I can tell you that from a logical perspective, the only way things will get better is if we demand better as a people, okay? So I just want you to put that out there, because if you cannot run, then you're stuck in staying, the best you can do is fight for a better governance, right? But yeah, those are the tips that I know would help you to live a considerably better life in Nigeria, or a less stressful life, or that's financially speaking, okay? If you have any more tips, please feel free to add this and I'll be sure to thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.